Greetings viewers, I am EricTheCarGuy. Hey, thanks for watching, and if you can, hit that subscribe button, like it, watch the whole video. How about do that stuff? In return, I will give you a step-by-step of the replacement of a starter on a K-Series engine. I'm going to be replacing it in my 2004 Honda Element, but the K-Series Honda engine is found in many vehicles. So if you have a K-Series, I'll give you a nice close-up of it right now. The information in this video will help you replace the starter should you have a bad one. So how do you know the starter is bad, Eric? Well, I usually use this Medtronic tester, and it goes through and not only tests the battery, but it will also test starter test. Here, we'll do one of those right now. Well, apologies for the screeching noise. It turns out that my new belt tensioner is bad, and I'll be replacing that later today, but not in this video. In this video, we're going to continue to move forward with the starter replacement. The point that I was trying to make when we heard that horrible noise was that the Medtronic's tester was not picking up that I had a bad starter. I have another video that I did on starter diagnosis that I'll post a link to down in the description. I'm going to move forward with the starter replacement. I'm certain that this starter is the problem, and either way, I'm going to give you a good video on starter replacement on a K-Series. Quite a few people are out there under the impression that you need to remove the intake manifold to do this starter. I don't. I haven't had to do that. Maybe on some models you do, but I haven't had to do it yet. All I do is I go from underneath. So let's remove some shielding and I'll show you how I gain access. Before we get under there though, first step in any starter replacement is to disconnect the negative battery cable. If you have a battery saver or something like that to save your radio code, great, but Hondas of this vintage normally have radio codes. Be sure you have your radio code before you disconnect it, because otherwise you'll have to get the serial number and that can get a little tricky. So before you pull the negative battery cable, either have some way of saving the radio code or make sure you have it. I'm now going to remove this shielding. One thing that could help you to get these plastic clips out if they're being stubborn, I usually take a little bit of WD-40 and just spray it on the clip, and that seems to loosen them up pretty good. So if you have trouble with them, a little bit of this should help. With some splash shield removed, we can see our starter right here. Now there's a bracket right in front of it that supports the intake manifold that will need to be removed. It is held down by two 12 millimeters, I believe. And then there are the electrical connections that I may wait for until I drop it down. They should be easier to access then. But the first thing I'm going to remove is that bracket in front of the starter that helps support the intake manifold. I'm just going to leave the electrical connections connected. They're just clipped to it. And I'm just going to push it out of the way. Now it's supposed to be a stud, but the whole thing came out. I'm going to be using this Premier Gear starter. Not my first choice. I'd rather go with a Denso rebuild. I'll link stuff in the description for you. But the reason I'm showing you this starter now is to give you an idea where the other fastener is, which is going to be almost impossible to show you. I'll try, but it's very difficult. This is the fastener that you can see from underneath, and this is the fastener that you can't. They are 14 millimeter. And it's, like I said, it's going to be really difficult to see this. In fact, I pretty much do this blind, feeling around beneath there. But this will give you an idea of the orientation of about where you have to go in order to reach this other fastener. You're going to be poking around up in here a lot. This is the NOS sensor and its connector. I disconnect it so that I don't have to worry about breaking it. Now, this harness on the back of the starter, that was already broken loose from here, but you want to unclip that also. Oh, you know, you suck sometimes, like. I often use these hose pliers to disconnect connectors that are difficult to get to, like this one is. With that disconnected and hopefully safe from harm, Here's a detailed shot of what I did on that knock sensor with these hose pliers. So I just came in like this, I depressed the connector, and then allowed it to release. And this is the way I deal with a lot of difficult to reach connectors. You have to be careful, to be gentle, you don't want to break the connector, but I often use this to get to hard to reach connectors. They took care of you on this model, and I don't remember seeing this in the past, but they use an extra long bolt up in there behind the starter. It's a 14. Like I said, the bottom one's a 17, but you don't need an extension or anything. In fact, you can see my socket right there, and it is on the bolt. Really grateful that broke loose, because if that long bolt breaks, well, then you will be taking the intake manifold off. There we are. And that is our very special bolt. Now, we get the easy one. It is easy compared to what we just did. Come on, fine tooth ratchet. Just give me one more click. Oh, the irony. Easy to get to, but not easy to get a long ratchet onto. All right, fine. I decided to use this trick with a pry bar to break the lower bolt loose. You feel like you could use some penetrating oil. I got an idea. That saves some time. Should be ours now, with the exception of electrical connections. Love taps. You know I love you. Always have. Ah, there we are. Okay, I can disconnect this electrical connection for the solenoid. In fact, I think I'm just gonna do this. Bring it down to a more reasonable place and then deal with it. Yeah, that's perfect. All right, mine now. Take the opportunity to look at the two starters, make sure they're the same. This one looks fine. Real quick before we go back up to the vehicle, I don't like to use aftermarket hardware. Oftentimes it's a different size. So the first thing I checked is I checked to see if the original Honda nut will fit on there, because I know it's 12 millimeter. And it does, so I'm going to reuse this. Try to undo exactly what I did a minute ago. Use 1/4 inch tools for this stuff, and make sure you don't over tighten it, because what can happen is you can actually disrupt the electrical connection inside the starter if you tighten this too much. So be aware that this is a delicate electrical component, and not to crank it down and set for kill. Just snug it up. It's a lock nut. It's a lock nut. All right, that's good. Solenoid connection while I'm at it. Many times it just goes in just like that, but make sure it goes together, because that rubber boot can mask whether or not that connection's actually been made or not. I'm gonna start that 17 first, but before I put it in, I'm gonna take the bolt and hit it with a little oil. Just regular motor oil I keep around for stuff just like this. And the intention is to run this down snug, but not tight. This way I can sneak in that long, weird fastener. Once again, a little bit of oil. This is the part where every time I do something like this, I think back to when I was a kid, and I'll be honest, I was not exactly the best kid, but I was always told to look with my eyes and not with my hands. Well, I'm here telling you now, do just the opposite, because I am not looking at any of this. I'm just sort of feeling it out. Success. Now, I'll get up in there with the socket, because it's easier to hold that and run that down. You don't need a step for kill. Just snug it down. The 17 gets a bit more torque. Don't forget to reconnect the knock sensor connection. That is, unless you enjoy a check engine light after you're done. I will put this bracket in, but I may advise against that. Not a bad idea to test it first before you put this bracket on. I'm confident, but are you? You enjoy me talking to myself? Whether you're here or not, that's what I do. Make sure it's turning the right way first, Eric. Rookie mistake. There you are, trying to be all cool for the camera. And I'm looking like a douche. Turning the right way, Eric? Yes, it is, Eric. I always get both fasteners started before I tighten the last one. Okay then, that starter's installed. Let's reconnect that negative battery cable, see if it works. I've already cleaned my connections, but if your connections aren't clean, good idea to clean them and do both. Not just the negative, do the positive. In fact, the positive you'll find is probably often more dirty. I'll go one step further. I'll post a link in the description to a video I did about battery maintenance. Also, don't forget to retrieve your light, because if you do and you start the engine and it's someplace where it shouldn't be, you'll have to buy a new light. Yeah, I know what you want to see. This way we can do a comparison between before and after. So, new starter. Sounds better, except for that squeak. Yeah, 11.52 this time. Well, there you have it. The replacement of a starter on a K-Series engine without removing the intake manifold. I'd forgotten about that long special bolt. I haven't had to remove an intake manifold on one yet, but if you run into that and you have to do it, you got to do what you got to do. But this is how I do it without removing the intake manifold. I hope that information was useful to you. Remember to unplug that knock sensor. I can't really think of anything else to give to you, except for I'll put links in the description to additional information that I hope will be useful to you. And also there'll be a link to EricTheCarGuy.com, which is where I ask you go if you have automotive questions not covered in this video. Be safe, have fun, stay dirty. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. I'm sure someone's going to want to know what it sounds like after the tensioner replacement. All better.